This week from Al-Musawat Radio. Al-Musawat Radio is the right place to know everything. Welcome to all of you dear listeners. This is the weekly news coverage coming your way from Al-Musawat radio station. Stay tuned. Prime Minister Mustafa Al-Kadhimi calls on all the parties to make concessions concerning the ongoing tensions in the country. Parliamentary State of Law bloc confirms that Iraq is in the face of a major crisis when the solution is to recourse to the constitution. Political expert and strategic analyst Hani Ashur confirms the political situation is confused and doesn't augur well. Sinjar local official confirms increase in number of Yazidis immigrating to European countries. The curse of Iraq's bounties turns the country into a poor one, ranking 79th on the world's poverty rate indicator list. An official document shows a Rafidain bank appoints an expert with a $7 million contract while simultaneously holds deputy director post. Digital Media Center confirms a cyber attack against the Supreme Judicial Council's website. Al-Anbar province experiences a new fuel crisis. Fires broke out in agricultural groves and areas, scorching dozens of palm trees, southern Iraq. Ministry of Health announced the COVID-19 epidemiological record across Iraq for the last week, with new 1,300 COVID-19 cases and 3 deaths recorded. Ministry of Health warns of increase in hemorrhagic fever cases over the next 2 months. Diyala province recorded the 3rd hemorrhagic fever death during the current year. Al-Hamel village of Diyala comes under tight preventive measures for 14 days after hemorrhagic fever death recorded in the province. Iraqi surgical team succeeded to take out a bullet from a 2-year-old child's liver in Al-Najjar province. Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced the completion of the transportation of 3 Iraqis' bodies home who died in a car accident in the Turkish city of Marmaris. Iraqi passengers expressed deep dissatisfaction concerning several hours delay and cancellation of their Iraqi Airways flight due to technical fault. General Company for Air Navigation Services of Ministry of Transportation announced new global air carriers are using Iraqi airspace. Ministry of Education announced the 6th intermediate final examinations results of the first attempt. Parliamentary Integrity Committee calls on to launch an investigation into the reasons of resetting ministerial exams for the 6th intermediate grade in favor of certain private schools. Ministry of Education issues a circular to state and private schools administrations stipulates graduation parties ban in schools. A 6th intermediate grade student died of trauma after knowing he failed to pass the ministerial final exams. Eyewitnesses reported an old woman killed in the Green Zone armed clashes central the capital. An indictee tried to burn his wife to death and then tried to smother her with a pillow, arrested in Baghdad. unidentified armed gunmen shot a store's owner dead, central Baghdad. An old man shot and wounded 2 persons, including his son, as he tried to get suicide in Baghdad. Ministry of Interior announced the arrest of an indictee charged with stealing 20 million dinars by Baghdad Combat Crime Directorate Detachment. Financial feuds between a man and his relatives lead to his killing, eastern Baghdad. A woman killed and others seriously wounded in a car accident in Al-Sharqa district, southern Nineveh province. A woman killed while her husband and her 3 children wounded in a car accident in Salahuddin province. A child died after falling into a well, eastern Mosul. A man killed by his cousins and 2 persons accused of using narcotics arrested in Erbil province. Erbil Police Directorate announced a 24-year-old young man's corpse found with use of narcotics evidence next to the corpse. 12 traders accused of money laundering and cheques forgery arrested in Al Suleymania province. Maysan Police Directorate announced the arrest of an indictee accused of murdering his wife's mother in the province. Maysan Police Directorate captures a narcotics trafficking cartel in the province. Maysan Police Directorate announced the arrest of a 4-member human trafficking, burglary and illicit brokering gang in the province. A slip of the tongue discloses a heinous murder committed 7 years ago against a 41-year-old woman in the Egyptian city of Al-Mansourah. A Jordanian female doctor committed suicide in the wake of her mother's death. Child Rights Draft Act in Jordan is still controversial between supporters who say it protects children from violations and opponents who say it contravenes provisions of Islamic law. Tunisian Ibtissam Mansour changed her career from a biotechnology scientist into a professional cheesemaker, establishing her own factory, proving that ambitions have no limits. Demonstrations against the release of those involved in a gang rape incident staged in India. A girl made her escape and returned to her family 9 years after her kidnapping in India. Chief Warrant Officer Alizita Kinda of Burkina Faso received the 2022 United Nations Women Police Officer of the Year award. Millions of livestock perished by drought and fears of unprecedented humanitarian crisis in Horn of Africa. Over 1,000 people killed by floods and torrential rains across Pakistan. Pakistan's government seeks $10 billion aid for infrastructure repair following the recent devastating floods and torrential rains that hit the country. Britain's Office for National Statistics expectations indicate that 0.6% of children between 2 and 11 years old suffer from long-term COVID-19 symptoms. A media report confirms only 4,500 of African Americans own homes in the United States. And finally, Iraqi engineer Diana Sindhi participates NASA in launching a rocket on a mission to return to the moon. All the Iraqi people are proud of you, Diana. And here we come for the end of our weekly news coverage for this week. Join us next week. Until then, please accept the best regards from your host right here behind the mic, Taif Al-Najjar, and from the producer right there behind the mixer, Mayar Amar. Join us next week. Have a nice day and goodbye.